Hello there, and welcome to our new guest, Kaitlyn.
Hello, how are
Hello.
you?
Good. I like to share that we do have history. We met
Yes, we
this
do.
year at the Orlando Fringe Festival where you were helping JJ with their show,
Mm-hmm.
and you critiqued my show, said it was terrible. We became good friends, all of that good stuff that we know and love. Uh,
Yep.
where are you from, Caitlin?
So I currently reside in New York City, but I am originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Albert QQ.
Mm-hmm.
I actually
Yep.
didn't know you were from there, funny enough.
Yeah, the land of Breaking Bad and green chili. So I love it, but I have not lived there in about 8 years now.
Fair. I do know there was a Weird Al song called Albuquerque that I grew up
There
very
is.
familiar with, and I might know way too much of that song.
Is that the
So,
Albuquerque turkey song?
no, it's like a 12-minute song where he just lists off all these things that happen in Albuquerque, or it's a Weird Al song, so it goes off the rails pretty quickly. But yeah, definitely one that now that I know you're from there, I'm just like I'm never gonna not associate that with you.
Oh, I'm so happy about that for me. But yeah, we met in Orlando, and we hit it off really well. And was very excited when you reached out about wanting to work with me, about coming out here with JJ and everything. It's very exciting.
It's a lot of fun. I have to say the rehearsals that I've seen people do so far have been really, really good. And it's exciting to see what the city's capable of. I've heard so much about it, and now we get to
Hmm.
kind of display and show off for the world. So
Yeah, I mean, it is New York City. You're gonna find some incredible talent out here because half of this city is some sort of performer.
absolutely.
So you're between finance bros and performers.
Absolutely. So
So,
in regards to this show,
mhm.
I wrote this monologue for you, having a bit of knowledge of your interests, obsessions. And between Bridgerton and Taylor Swift, I think you are the quintessential white girl. And I absolutely love you for it. And I hope, well, do you have any questions or concerns about the monologue or
um, no, because it's very funny. And you're not wrong. My hobbies are pretty freaking basic. I'm a pretty easy person to please. And throw in a good sad Taylor Swift song and some Bridgerton romance. I'm a happy camper.
has Taylor Swift done any of the soundtrack for Bridgerton? I feel like she must have.
Yes, there are a few.
Yeah.
And you definitely caught me during the time of Orlando Fringe when season three was coming out, which, focused on some of my personal favorite characters. Penelope's my favorite character. So yeah, I was very focused on Fringe and Bridgerton. Like those were
Yes.
my two
What else is there
goals.
really? So
Nothing really.
well, I will say this particular monologue, does focus on a show that's very popular that I've never seen an episode of, probably never will. And so this is
Prime.
entirely based off of my impression of what you would like out of a series, and then trying to do our own little spin on it. So this monologue is called Bridgerton for the listeners, and I'm excited to just dive right in and let you do a read through, and we can talk. And yeah, take it away when you're ready.
Okay. Do not partake in discourse with me as if I don't comprehend what you're getting at. I have read the sacred tomes. I have watched every occurrence multiple times, including the spin-off. I have suckled at the breast of Quinn for countless ages, and now you dare accuse me of not comprehending the very scripture from which I was raised? Do you think I know not the difference between A bodice and a corset? Do you think I donned just any plain costume from the nearest spirit Halloween? I say fie on you. Do not besmirch my good name simply because you lack the skills to comprehend the damage you do to your own reputation. With these circles, I am beloved. I am a goddess. I am wit beyond intelligence, with blessing of Madame Rhymes held aloft upon my shoulders. If you have never seen it, then you need not to associate with me any longer. I have no space in my world for those who have not beheld the wonder of Jonathan Bailey, who has left his fair visage guide the work with it. Sorry. Who has let his fair visage guide the work it takes to create the masterpiece we now adorn ourselves in. You who mock, who laugh from your kingdoms of pathos, those who have not toiled for hours until perfectly manicured fingernails bled from the strife of it, those who have never known a true day's work, stoning garments that make us unique, exactly the way costumes appear on screen. I have learned to perfectly replicate and pronounce every bead, drape, and ruffle. I cosplay with a skill and grace that would not render your pathetic aspirations completely moot. Now be gone, you peasant. I have fan fiction to judge.
Very nice. A lot of fun. I can tell that you're enjoying this, which is always good.
Yep.
Uh, I can tell that it's very fresh. It's very new.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple minor things where you just some of the lines were read wrong, but that's not a big deal at all.
Mm-hmm.
You have a great energy with it. Right now, I feel like uh you're aiming almost at an Alexis Rose. And the way I see this character, I feel like you could almost go for a Moira Rose.
Okay.
Having that kind of over the top, even weird pronunciations, like anything you want to do, you can really ham this character up. One thing I'm
Okay.
telling a lot of people is that a lot of my monologues, because it's just you on stage, the comedy isn't always obvious. And a lot of this comedy will get drawn out specifically in regards to how you overdo things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And there's a lot here that you can have a lot of fun with. So
Yep.
even the whole do you not have donned any costume from the nearest spirit Halloween? Like there's it's designed to be stupid, and you can go as far and as over the top as you want with it.
Okay.
How do you feel now after having read it?
Uh, it feels good because I read it a couple times like in my head, but not out loud.
Hmm.
Um, so getting words out is definitely a different experience for those of us in performing. Um, so that's like, and I love playing stupid, so like that's definitely a route that I can do. This is definitely, I've met a person like this.
Maybe several.
Maybe several. I may be one of them. Um, but yeah, it's super fun. And I just, when I read it, I was like, oh man, this is so silly. I called my friend Courtney, who is the one that introduced me to Bridgerton, and she was like, that's hilarious. So,
There is one thing I want to point out
mm-hmm,
in regards to uh a lot of the times with monologues, whenever I have a name there, I think it's always a cue for someone because the way you say the name will dictate how you relate to the person.
mm-hmm,
So, for instance, I have suckled at the breast of Quinn. You can have
mm-hmm.
that little warmth for that one, or uh, Jonathan Bailey, I assume, is the hot one.
You are not incorrect, sir, and the fact that you do not know who that is sad.
Yes. I live a very sad life. I am Canadian after all. We have our own little tragedies. That's always a problem. Uh Beheld the one. Can you, I just want you to say beheld the wonder of Jonathan Bailey.
Okay. Who have not beheld the wonder of Jonathan Bailey.
Infinitely better already. Like
Okay.
having those little the idea of your relationship to the people that you're saying idolizing, like that can be a big part of having good connections in terms of your piece.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in regards to the whole piece together, um, do you know who you're talking to?
That is a very good question. When I first read it, I thought they were talking to a friend who was questioning what was being seen around their friend. Um, but it also could be like just, they're referring to cosplaying, and like I feel like it could also be like at a cost, like a
Comic-Con
um
situation?
yeah, like a Comic-Con event and run into somebody who's being like mean.
Yeah, or just someone who maybe like talked down to the fandom or some there's lots of options, none of which are locked in any way, shape, or form. Uh,
Mhm.
my impression of it was always that I was thinking it was along the lines of someone who, didn't know the fandom, didn't know what they were getting into, and still did something. And yeah, that was my impression of it. But it's flexible. If you see something that works better, if you see something that's not quite where you want it, we can adjust. So I hope that made sense. I think that might have got away from me a little bit, but
No, 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 that makes sense. I I just think I think who you're talking to is always an important aspect of things. So,
yeah, especially in these kind of monologues.
mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot to them, but it's a lot of good as well. So
Yeah, I just see this point of view as like she's really defending herself more
mhm.
so like on her knowledge.
Yeah,
She's
she
like,
she knows what she's talking about. She
yeah,
knows it. She gets it.
yeah. A comment was definitely made and she did not appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
and there's the direction of do you want to like knowing who you're talking to? It's just like do you play it more defensive? Do you play it more ostentatious? Do you play it more ridiculous? Like there's so many ways, so many different directions you can take this, and I'm excited to see the choices that you make because good choices make good theater.
interesting choices also can make a theater.
Yes.
Yes. Uh, I always, in acting school, my teacher always said, it's not making the correct choice. It's making a choice that makes something more interesting.
Yeah.
Um, because, I mean, there's good and bad choices. Um, but like, there's always like, what's going to be more interesting for the audience? What's more interesting for you? What's more dynamic? What's going to give you more color?
Exactly. And that's a lot of what the great thing about monologues is it really lets you dig into that side of things where you're just like, I can thoroughly color this character. I can make interesting choices. And what am I selfishly, every actor can always look at it and be like, hey, what am I good at? And how can I breathe that good energy that I have into this character? And you have just a very natural way of doing that. And especially with this one, I think that I just think you're gonna nail it because A, it's Bridgerton. If you don't, then I don't know how you
Then
didn't.
I'm going to quit.
But at that point,
Acting's
just
not
give
for
up.
me. Yeah, I should just give up with my life and find another career path.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think after speaking with JJ, who you've spoken with, if the
Hmm.
audience is not aware, JJ and I are creative partners, and we do a lot of work together, and we also live together. So, but he was talking to me. He's like, "Have you read your monologue yet?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've read it." And he goes, "I just got mine." It's like Maddie, within a few days of knowing me, entered my soul and weaved in and out and then came out with this monologue.
It was a good 5 minute writing session. We're good. We're good. So
So, and I also like think that this is very me. This is very me, and it's so much fun. I love comedy. So,
I'm very flattered. Thank you so much. That's very kind. And now we get to just it's exciting to be able to do this and just get to play. And now the only thing I have to do now is everything else. So we're good. We're good. We're having fun. We're having a
we're
time.
having, yep. Okay. So, what do we do next?
We can, if there's any parts of the monologue that you want to go over, we can. Other than that, I feel confident. I feel like you have a really good sense of it. It's just kind of right now you're sitting at about a 6, and that's because you're reading it, and then like you haven't really tried it out in your body or anything yet. So it's just a case of really taking that the choices you're making now and just elevating them, just going crazy and having fun. So this is the hard part for you, but it's also the best part because this is where the monologue will really come alive.
Yeah, I think by the time you get here in
Oh, less than
two,
that, it
th-
seems.
uh, two,
Uh,
3 weeks, it's going to be really fun. I'm really excited. My question for you is like, in terms of the performance aspect, are we doing like, do you see her like kind of like showing up in a corset, or is she um like in blacks? Like, I think it would be awesome if she kind of is in a corset already.
I think that could work. If you want it. The great thing about a monologue is that you step on stage and it's suspension of disbelief. You can say you're in any kind of costume. You don't need to do that on stage because the audience will fill in as soon as you say something like oh, I'm a superhero, then the audience will be like, oh yeah, he's a superhero, or I am this. The same way someone who's 12 can walk on stage and be like, I'm 80, and the kids will be like, yay, good Peter Pan characters. But yeah, in terms of this, I really think whatever costume makes you feel most at home on stage in this character, I think that's the right choice. And it can go I would normally recommend just blacks or stagecraft or whatever. But yeah, flexible options. It can really be whatever you want it to be. And I'm not
Yeah.
precious about any kind of uniform look, but I imagine we'll probably end up doing something like blacks or something along those lines on stage.
Cool. Oh yeah, no, I love a good blacks. Um, so that's really exciting. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you.
I
If I
hope
haven't said that already.
I'm very hopeful for this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be very different.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's also interesting just to get to talk to people about monologues because we spend so long talking about theater and about shows, but very little time is spent with acting on the monologue, and the monologue is so integral to
Hmm.
everything that a creator and an actor does. So,
Monologues are the hardest, some of the hardest things that actors can do, because you're when you get an audition or you are submitting, they're usually asking for a monologue, right?
mhm.
And knowing how to present a monologue is so crucial because it tells you so much information about that specific person in such a little amount of time. And then when you move to a show, when I direct people or when I'm being directed, I just finished Midsummer Night's Dream, right? And I was doing Helena, and she has a lot of monologues. And you kind of have to look at monologues as a script in its entirety. It has a beginning, it has a middle, it has an end. Whether or not it has a resolution, that's to be seen, but usually, and that's how you build it. You kind of figure out like what's the beginning, what's the middle, what's the climax of this monologue, how are you approaching this monologue. Like, there's so many different aspects to it that can make working on a monologue really challenging but also really fun.
Mm-hmm. No, I
Mhm.
definitely think that there's a lot there in regards to that, and I think I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see this on stage specifically because it's going to be a lot of fun, and we get to kind of show monologues say so much without ever actually telling the audience anything specific. But you, it's the basis of character. It's the basis of everything that we do. So let's put a spotlight on some of the most difficult acting and the most fun times you can have.
I'm so excited. All right, that
Right.
sounds great.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And was there anything that you would like to plug? Do you have any shows or anything coming up that you're
Um, so other than transformative, mattive, JJ and I are very happy to announce that we are starting our own production company. And yay, called Wicked Cat Productions. Everyone can follow us on Instagram. It's very exciting. Um, and yeah, we are in the process of potentially going to New York City Fringe, which more information will be coming out hopefully soon about that. We will be producing a show that JJ wrote called Stuck, which we produced back in February of this past year at a as a one act, as a smaller like 20-minute show. And it has now been extended to like a full hour.
very exciting?
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing Stuck very soon at
Yes.
the New York Fringe. Hopefully, I'll see you there. We'll find
Oh
out.
my goodness. We'll find out. You can still come with us and be on our team.
I probably won't have any other job, so that works for me. So thank you so much for joining me today,
Thank
and we
you.
look forward to seeing what you do very soon.
Thank you, Maddie.